Hello and welcome to Nitro Talk. You know, this body is pretty wonky in a couple areas, but from some angles it looks pretty good, but then other angles not so much. I've always loved this style of RX-7, the actual car. I'm not talking about this body, I'm talking about this generation of Mazda RX-7. Beautiful car, lovely car. This is one of those, here's the wonkiness right here. And yeah, I did commit some of that wonkiness to it myself with the heat gun, trying to fix it. It came kind of messed up, and trying to get it to look somewhat normal, I melted it, but I think it was only like $9 shipped. It's one of those really cheap bodies, and you know, for the price, just put the bad part against the wall, and then it doesn't look too bad on the shelf. So anyways, how are we doing today? Welcome to Nitro Talk. We are taking a look at this vehicle right here, which, aside from having an RX-7 body, it is a Mugen MTX3. Let me go ahead and get our camera put into place, and we can go ahead and take a look, see how y'all doing. Please like and subscribe if you are into nitro vehicles, nitro engines, preserving nitros, keeping nitro vehicles going, and restoring them. Anything whatsoever to do with nitro vehicles, please like and subscribe. We will be covering many nitro vehicles, engines, and topics. So let's take off that body, and what do we have underneath? Now this again, Mugen MTX3. Let's go ahead and just kind of get a look-see at everything before we start talking about it. So let's do the top. You can see that Airtronics 94357 servo right there. That is I think one of the high speed, as opposed to the 358, which is the high torque. Now you'll see that it's missing the belt that connects the front and the rear. I will get into that. I removed that belt. I have the belt. I'll get into why I took that off. RD Logics R3 engine. It's novarossi based. They're really cool in that I wish I could get in here and show you better. The sides where it has the name, it's kind of like a puffy sticker on the side of the engine. It says RD on one side, and I believe R3 on the other side. It's got R3 there on the cooling head. Now this was something I came across back in the day. It's like a upgraded Traxxas air filter. Fits on the standard Traxxas neck, but instead of being two-stage, the standard Traxxas plastic one has a mesh screen across the top there, making it two-stage. That's the first stage, and then the filter is the second stage. This one's just a single stage. Just has the foam filter there, and that's aluminum as opposed to plastic. You can see that it's not very round. It's kind of, that's a little wonky as well, if we like to use that word. So see, it's got an electronic switch on it. These, I like these electronic switches, but they're not cheap, so it's probably why they're not on more of my vehicles. For the steering in there, we have a Futaba S9402. S9402 Futaba servo, which is a decent mid-level Futaba servo, maybe lower mid-level, but certainly for a 10 scale touring car, it does the job. This is, of course, bump start, no pull starter on here. If we get a look at the bottom of that chassis, now this is kind of unique, the way that the battery is on this little tray that sits on the bottom, and you access it by taking off these screws, 1, 2, and then a third one here. And I'm going to show you this pack in here. Now that's your battery holder. It's like a little tray there that the battery sits in. I made this battery pack because the original battery pack that was in it when I got it crapped out on me. These are kind of hard to find. You can get them on eBay nowadays, but these 5-cell AAA rechargeable in kind of the hump pack configuration there. But anyways, this one had crapped out, and I was getting ready to chuck it, and was going to slice the cover off here. And I tell you what, when I got a look under here, I was like, no duh, this thing died. I could understand. Look at how crappy this looks under here. Ew, isn't that? Ew, that is bad. Yeah, that needs to go in the trash. Actually, to be totally honest with you, I am going to save that cord. I save everything, so that'll get saved, and that will go in the trash. So anyways, I made this. I believe these are the EBL AAA rechargeable batteries. I made this little hump pack out of those for the Mugen here. But yeah, it's on that little door. It sits on the bottom. Now the bottom of this chassis is not too bad of condition. It's got some scratches. Certainly I've seen a lot worse. This car runs and drives great, other than that belt thing, which I'll get to in a second. Now this vehicle has one of the very few, I believe I only got this and one other, Syntax clutch. This has a Syntax clutch on it, and we will get into Syntax. We will get into that clutch when we do our clutch video, which is coming up very soon, along with all the other videos. Let me go ahead and get into that belt thing now. So what I believe is going on, this is basically how I got this in this state. I put the servos in it, I believe, the fuel line, stuff like that, but the engine pipe, the car, were pretty much set up when I got it. And what I had noticed was these front wheels, this is a one-way in the front, one-way diff in the front of this. So the wheels roll forward freely, but if you go backwards, then you'll see that it turns the belt and turns the pulley there, right, to connect to the rear. So it's a front one way, but I don't know if it's a bad bearing or if it's just put together wrong. It's dragging. You can feel it's dragging. It's either a stuck bearing or something's being squished, and it just doesn't. But seeing as how it's a one-way there, if you basically what I did was take the belt off, and now it's a two-wheel drive. It's just rear wheel drive, and the front is freewheel, and that got around the dragging issue. It's just now it's only two-wheel drive instead of four-wheel drive, and the only reason I haven't gotten around to fixing it is because it is a real pain to get in there. And I don't really, this isn't a car that I drive a whole lot. I was driving this for a little bit. I do like driving touring cars, especially a good one like this. This is certainly a race grade touring car right here. This is not a, which touring car do I want to crap on? This isn't a cheap touring car. This is a race grade touring car right here. So anyways, where was I at? I talked about the belt thing. So I took the belt off, making it rear wheel drive, and I kind of was doing some drifting with it. It's the RX-7 body on there. I was doing some Fast and Furious in the parking lot. This engine runs cherry, super sweet. Again, this is a bump start vehicle, so starter box required. This pipe, I believe, is an off-nut pipe, but can't really read what it had said on it at one time. It's no longer there, but I have an off-nut pipe which looks almost identical, the shape, so it's either that pipe or a similar pipe. And off-nuts are known for fading their writing off. Yeah, so that Airtronics 94357 and the 94358 are your two with the plastic gear, but they're incredible. Then you got your 59 and 60, which have the all metal gears, same specs as the 7 and 8, but instead of having the one plastic gear, those are all metal gear. And then the 61 and 62, I forget exactly how it all set up, but that's those 6 Airtronic servos are legends. You go through, I got the old RC Car Action magazines, and the ones that do show which, it'll show like race results, and it'll have what radio they use, what batteries, what motor, electric motor or nitro engine, and it'll have, you know, the servos listed in some ones. Back in these days is when, you know, they were doing that, and these were just littered through the pages. It was the M8 transmitter, the Airtronics M8 transmitter, Sanwa, Airtronics Sanwa, M8 transmitter, and the 94357 and 358 servos that were just wrecking the competition in races back in those days. Alright, I went off enough on that. Great looking car, carbon top plate on it. We always love to see that. 2-speed, baby, of course, for the Mugen MTX3. Have a piece of fuel tubing on the brake right there. The car drives beautifully. And one of these days I'll get around to taking it apart and fixing that front, probably a bad bearing, and then I'll put the belt, I got the belt, I'll put the belt back on, and it'll be four-wheel drive again. I got some hard drift tires for it. Really, especially in rear-wheel drive mode, awesome for parking lot drifting. Also got a D-box, if anyone knows what the D-box is, speaking of drifting. Alright, so did I talk about, you know, one thing I realized that I keep forgetting a lot when I do an engine. I'll talk, you know, about the parts of it and everything, but I won't really touch on, you know, the performance or how I like it. This engine right here is a peach. Pretty much all of these Novarossi small blocks, C12, K12, M12, the 12s, Novarossi 12s, are sweet engines. I've never seen a bad one. They, generally speaking, are great. So of course this RD Logics, made by Novarossi, same standard, great engine. 2-speed with the syntax clutch, already got into that. That's, of course, got to have your nice purple dress up on there. Yellow fuel line, though, that was an interesting choice back in the day. Got a piece of heat shield there from a Traxxas. Those come on like a T-Max. You'll find that piece of insulation right there on the T-Max fuel line, or I'm sure Revo as well, whatever. So that got taken from there. So that is the Mugen MTX3. Sweet, awesome touring car, certainly race level, competition grade. Sway bar, carbon towers, carbon top plate, just all the goodies you expect in a high-end touring car with the decent RX-7 body. Thank you very much for checking it out. Got some very good videos coming up. Look forward to seeing you there. Thank you very much.